What's up, my fellow small business supporters? Happy Animal Crossing release day! I'm Isabel and I am so excited to do the Animal Crossing book tag with you guys and with my good friend Savvy. Welcome back to my channel. Isabelle is here with me today to do the Animal Crossing book tag. But before we get started, if you're new here, please don't forget to subscribe. Multiple times a week, I put out new videos about books, writing, and small business owner life. Today's video is going to combine a few things that I love together. We've got some books, we've got some writing, and we've got one of my favorite video games of all time, Animal Crossing. So for those of you who don't know, Animal Crossing is releasing for the Nintendo Switch today. I have been so hyped for this for like over a year. I have been waiting with bated breath to be able to play Animal Crossing on the Nintendo Switch. And I am just so excited. When this video goes up, I'll probably be off playing it nonstop, so there's that. I'm super excited. So I'm really excited that this book tag exists. I decided that since I'm like a BookTube and AuthorTube hybrid channel, that I was going to kind of make this a BookTube and AuthorTube hybrid tag. So when I answer the questions, which all relate to the game Animal Crossing and talking about books you like or dislike in terms of Animal Crossing characters, I decided that for some answers I would talk about books that I've read, and for other answers I'll talk about things from my own writing, like characters that I've written or things like that, to kind of combine the BookTube and AuthorTube realms. So I hope you guys enjoy. So our first question is Peppy. This is a character that you would feel happy about moving into your Animal Crossing town. So for this one I decided to go with a book that I wrote. That is going to be Daisy from my novel One Final Vinyl. A lot of you guys probably know that this novel is coming out on May 15th. We've been getting some preliminary reviews for it going up. I've done an unboxing, I've done a cover reveal, so you guys can check out my playlist linked up in the cards for videos that I've made related to this novel in general. But there is a character in this novel named Daisy. She is a fun-loving, sassy 90-year-old woman who's starting to slip into going senile but doesn't want to give up her love for life just yet. I think she would be so much fun to have in an Animal Crossing town. I think it'd be fun to have a sassy older lady who could be kind of like a surrogate grandma there with you. I would be all for that. So Daisy, come on into my Animal Crossing town and we will be best friends forever. The next one is Uchi, which means big sister. So this is a book that has a sibling relationship you enjoy. Bonus points if it's a sister relationship. So for this one I decided to make this one a writing question as well and go with, in the Sculpt Yourself, the characters that I wrote, Amber and Judy, they have a sister relationship that I had so much fun writing. So in this, Amber actually is a big sister. Amber's the main character of Sculpt Yourself. This is a novel told from three women's perspectives about a new drug that allows people to shift their own body proportions, give themselves different body fat distributions wherever they want, and how that kind of affects beauty standards. So Amber, one of the main characters of this, is an older sister, and her younger sister Judy is actually another one of the main characters in this, so they do have a sister relationship. I had a lot of fun writing this because they love each other a lot, they live together, they have fun banter, they have a good time, but they also kind of hate each other at the same time. They have a lot of arguments. It just felt really fun to explore that authentic love-hate sibling relationship that can go on, and how two siblings might have very differing opinions on an issue or very different approaches to something. They might look down on each other sometimes, but also at the end of the day it's kind of like, whoa, no one can hurt my sibling but me. That kind of thing, that defensiveness. So that was really fun to explore and I had a really good time writing that. Now we're gonna move on to some books that I've read. This one is for Cranky, a book that makes you cranky. Oh my god, I've done so many rant reviews at this point. I've done so many book reviews of books that I just like, they made me so upset that like, maybe I'll link some of them up in the cards, maybe I'll link some in the description below. Like, obviously I could be like, girl wash your ass, that book makes me cranky, Rachel Hollis is over here body shaming out the wazoo, right? I've made so many videos on that already that I feel like I'm almost beating a dead horse to say that at this point. That book made me cranky. Girl Stop Apologizing made me cranky. In terms of books that are just like fun young adult fiction that I read for fun, the book Ship It makes me really cranky. I can't hold it up and show it to you because I sold it on Facebook Marketplace because I was just so cranky about it that I didn't want to have it in my home anymore. Now hopefully somebody else is enjoying it. I hope that whoever I sold it to for $5 is not cranky about it. That would be a shame. Number 4 is normal. This is books that you can always turn to for comfort, and this can be a specific book or a genre in general. For this, I'm gonna go with this book, The Misfits by James Howe. I read this book so many times. I got this book when I was in 7th grade, and I have reread this book a ton of times, even though now reading it, like looking back, a lot of the, like, cause it's about like ending bullying in schools and that kind of thing. A lot of the bullying feels kind of cheesy, that like people are calling each other nerd and dweeb unironically. Like, it feels a little dated, and you can tell because this book was published in the early 2000s, so it was probably written in the late 90s, and yeah, you can definitely tell that. But because I grew up with this book, and because I read it so many times when I was in middle school, and even when I was in middle school, the insults felt dated. I was like, I don't know anyone who calls anyone a nerd as an insult. Like, I feel like people might say it as like, oh, I'm such a nerd about this thing that I'm really invested in or something, but like, even then, I thought the book was funny. I thought the voice was really well done, and now I can kind of read this book over as an adult, and every time I've reread it as an adult, I have noticed that certain pieces of the writing, like the writing style, the character's voice, have kind of influenced my own writing style, because I can be like, oh, the way that these sentences are constructed, the way that stream of consciousness and lengthy sentences are just interjected in these places, I kind of use that kind of thing in my writing. So it's just interesting to see how a book I read so many times growing up influenced the way that I approach voice and the way I approach writing characters. So this book is always very comfortable to read because I can just look at it from so many perspectives, and I always fly right through it. It just never gets tiring for me. Number 5 is Snooty. This is a book that you enjoy that no one else seemed to, or an unpopular bookish opinion that you have. Now, I've done some like unpopular opinion tags. I don't think my bookish opinions are that unpopular when it comes down to it. I've mentioned a few times that I'm like obsessed with the book An Abundance of Catherines by John Green, and how a lot of people didn't like that book. They seem to think it was one of his weaker stories, but I never got that. I always thought that the book was kind of brilliant, that it was amazing how many Easter eggs were in there, that everything in there was super clever. So I will be snooty about that book till the end of time. I'll do that whole thing where it's like people are like, An Abundance of Catherines makes no sense because it's all over the place. Me, an intellectual. I'll do one of those things. I'll be snooty as fuck. Number 6 is Lazy. This is a book that took you way too long to finish. Oh my god. So I'm gonna tell you guys a story about The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Now, it didn't take me that long to finish The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. It took me a long time to get through the like big anthology, the book of all 5 books together. And the reason that I want to tell this story is that it kind of relates to when Tyler and I started dating. So a lot of you guys know my husband, Tyler. He and I have known each other like forever. We've been friends since we were like 11, 12 years old. But when we were like 14, 15, very shortly after we'd gone on like our first couple dates, I expressed to him that I wanted to read Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy because it was one of his favorite books, and I was like, oh, it sounds really interesting. Like, from the things he'd quoted to me, I thought that the style sounded really fun, so I was like, I want to read it. He lent me his large 5-book anthology of it, and he's like, here you go. And I was like, all right, sounds good. So I read the first one pretty quickly, and then I was like, all right, time to start reading the second one. But then I started getting distracted by other books. So I'd pick up another book and I'd still have it there, and he'd be like, hey, Savvy, can you maybe like give me back the anthology if you're not going to finish it? And I was like, no, I'm going to finish it. I'm just taking a little while because I've got a ton of other books to read. And he was like, yeah, but like you're hoarding it. Like, it's my book. You need to give it back at some point. And I was like, I don't think so. So I just kept it, and like we would just forget about it every once in a while, and I kept just reading other books. And next thing we knew, we were dating for like 3 years. We had like our 3-year anniversary. We got voted the class couple in high school. We were still together, and every once in a while Tyler would be like, hey, are you ever gonna give me Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy back? And I was like, yeah, once I finish it. I'm still working on it. So then we went off to college. It was like the very beginning of college. I turned 19 years old in September of 2011. So it's 2011. We had just started college together. We didn't go to the same college, but we were at colleges near each other. I was at Northwestern. He was at DePaul, so we were both in Chicago. He was like, Savvy, I've got a birthday gift for you. I went to his dorm to get my birthday gift, and it was the entire Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy anthology. He bought me a new one just for me. He was like, I can take mine back now because I got you this as a birthday gift, and you can take as long to read it as you want. And I thought that was just romantic and cute, but joke's on him because we got married, so now we have 2 copies of it for nothing. Number 7 is Smug. This is A hyped book that you have zero interest in reading. And I'm sorry, cancel me if you want, but this is pretty much like every big release young adult fantasy novel. I have like not much interest in fantasy at all. I've read a few fantasy novels and I'll probably read a few more. I like indie author fantasy sometimes, and sometimes I like urban fantasy. For the most part, like when a new fantasy novel comes out and everyone's super hyped about it, like I really don't give a fuck. I don't even know if I could name any of them right now. I just see them like rotating in BookTube videos and that kind of thing, and I'm like, it doesn't sound like my thing. Number 8 is Jock. This is your bookish MVP. So I decided to go back to the writing questions with this one and talk about my writing MVP. Now, in the context of this question, MVP is like your environment, like something that enhances your experience, like, you know, music you listen to or snack you eat. So for this, I'm going to talk about all the snacks I love to eat while I'm writing. So while I'm writing, I love to have like a big thing of coffee. I love to have a ton of like hot sauce. Like I want hot buffalo sauce. I want some tortilla chips, some nachos. I want to make like crazy nachos with a bunch of things added on top. And then I like to have like a pizza. Like maybe I'll bake a pizza in the oven, do one of those shitty frozen pizzas you get at the store. So I'll make one of those. Then maybe I'll get some hot wings. Like I just want to be like surrounded by a pile of junk food, and then I'm like, I'm gonna write all night long. I made a vlog about this. It was my 48-hour novel revision vlog where I just like had a sleepover party with myself and just like surrounded myself with junk food. I got like a 10-pound bag of peanut M&Ms and I was like, let's do this. I also got really sick after that weekend was over, so maybe it's not recommended, but on to the bonus questions! The first one is Tom Nook. Oh wait, I have a little Tom Nook plushie. Hold up. Tom Nook! So this is for your auto-buy authors. I mean, one of my main auto-buy authors is John Green. I think you guys probably figured that out based on the fact that like I'm a major John Green fangirl and I have one of his quotes tattooed on my side and like, I'm that bitch. So he's definitely an auto-buy author. Now for a while, I would have said Rainbow Rowell was one of my auto-buy authors, and she still is for now. I don't know if you guys have seen my rant review on Wayward Son,
which was like partially a rant review and also partially a praise review. Like I loved the book but also really hated the book. It was very, very complicated. But yeah, she was an auto-buy author of mine, and when she puts out the 3rd book in the Carry On Wayward Son series called Anyway the Wind Blows, I'm going to be pre-ordering it the second it comes out, so she's also an auto-buy now. This book is going to determine my relationship to Rainbow Rowell for the future, because if this one does not turn out in certain ways, I'm going to be like, bitch, we're done. We're done. Here's why, okay? I ranted about this so many times. I'm concerned that Rainbow Rowell has been appropriating bisexual culture. Now, I was first concerned about this when I read Carry On, and we have Simon, a main character in this book who dates a female character and then dates a male character. The word bisexual is never used even once, which is totally fine. That Simon doesn't have himself figured out. That's not what I'm saying at all. I was like, okay, whatever. Then Wayward Son comes out, right? Wayward Son is released on Bisexual Visibility Day. She announces that, and I'm like, oh, okay, here we go. And then the cover, we got Simon and all the concept art with his leather jacket and his cuffed pants, and I'm like, oh, she is on it. Is the word bisexual ever once even used in Wayward Son? No, of course it's not. Not even once. Simon questions his sexuality many times and never even considers it. Still super worried about this. Now, she has one final chance for redemption, because this novel that is coming out, that is the 3rd book in this series, is called Anyway the Wind Blows. Do we know where Anyway the Wind Blows comes from? Is it maybe perhaps a lyric written by literally the most iconic bisexual musician of all time? Yes, it is. It is a lyric from Bohemian Rhapsody by Queen, starring our frontman, Freddie Mercury. If Rainbow Rowell squanders her Freddie Mercury privileges in this, I'm fucking done. So,
auto-buy author for now, maybe not for later. I don't know. We'll see what Tom Nook thinks. Our next question is Isabelle. Nope, this is Tom Nook. Where's Isabelle? Here you are. Okay. Isabelle, this is what is your most ambitious goal for 2020? I don't know if you guys saw the video I put out called I'm releasing 4 books in 2020, but that is definitely my most ambitious goal for 2020. I've already got one final vinyl scheduled to be released on May 15th. You know, I've been building up to that book release, and then I'm working on 3 other books to finish this year. One is called #Savvy Business Owner. It's the business self-help book I've been working on for a really long time. The next one is the newest Forever Home Friends book, the newest book in my series of kids books based on real rescue dogs and their journeys to adoption. So I have the 5th book for that one that I'm in the process of working on. It's going to be a collection of stories about elderly senior dogs, and I have already run a contest for this, so I'm going to announce the winners of the senior dogs contest soon. For those of you who are wondering about that, I'm making some final decisions. It's really, really hard because everyone submitted a really cute dog and I have to pick only like 10 of them. So, and then I'm also hoping to release 90s Kids by the end of 2020. I'm hoping to do that like on a New Year's Eve kind of thing, but I'm not committed to it yet just because I have a lot of steps that I still need to take with that. So stay tuned for more announcements on that coming up. For the Able Sisters, this is your favorite recent book cover. So since I'm doing some of these as writing questions, I'm going to talk about one of my book covers. So I made this cover for One Final Vinyl. I know that I did a cover reveal video talking about my process of making this cover and what that was like, but I actually really love making my own book covers, and maybe I'll do a video on this in the future because in the indie author world, whether you make your own covers or whether you hire a professional cover designer, it seems really controversial, and it's a thing that people seem to like to argue about a lot. I literally don't give a fuck. I think, like, if you make a cool cover, make a cool cover. If someone else makes a cool cover, that's great. If your book is good, I'll read it. If it's not good, I won't read it. Will I judge its cover? Yeah, probably, because book covers are interesting to look at. But if you or someone else made that cover, it really doesn't fucking matter. Anyway, this is the book cover that I made for One Final Vinyl. It's got my own hand lettering on it, and then in the background, I've got lots of Polaroid photos that I took. So it was interesting to make. I will link up in the cards the video that I made about my process of making this cover and what that was like, but I was just really happy and proud with how this turned out. Next is, whoa, I got him, KK Slider. Where are you, KK? KK Slider is wearing one of Savvy Doll's AliExpress beanies. That's a little interesting. But KK Slider, oh, he and Isabel will be together for this because I shipped them. So KK Slider's question is, do you listen to anything while you read? So sometimes I like to listen to music while I read and while I write. Generally, I'll just like put on a random playlist on YouTube or on Google Music, or sometimes I'll put things on my record player, but I don't have like a specific, like it needs to be this kind of music. The only requirement I have is that if I am writing something like for journalism, if I'm writing something where I have to use kind of that other analytical part of my brain, picking apart quotes and synthesizing them and that kind of thing, I tend more towards an instrumental side for that, just because like the words fuck with me then. But when I'm doing like creative writing, the words don't fuck with me at all. So all music is welcome. I would love to have KK Slider perform at my office room. I didn't have an end to that sentence, sorry. And our last question is Brewster. This is your drink of choice while reading. For me, obviously that is going to be coffee. I also like tea. The problem is I have allowed myself to have a classical conditioning Pavlov dog response to tea, where I've drank tea so many times while being sick that now when I drink tea, it just makes me think about being sick, and it kind of ruins part of the tea experience for me, but not entirely. I'm trying to find certain tea flavors that I drink only when I'm feeling good and not when I'm feeling bad, but then inevitably I'll get sick at some point, and for comfort I'll want to drink that good tea flavor that I had, and so then I'll drink that, and then in my brain I'll start associating it with being sick again. It is a vicious cycle, so I just drink coffee. Thank you all so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed this, please check out the links in the description below. This video was sponsored by my patrons. Here they are listed right here. I have a Patreon page. If you are interested in supporting the channel, you can check out the Patreon linked in the description below. I also have channel merch. So if you thought it was funny earlier when I was like, girl, wash your ass, you can check out the Girl Wash Your Ass t-shirt. Or if you like being a fellow small business supporter, you can check out the Small Business Supporter tote bag. There is tons of merch available, linked in the description below, so go ahead and check that out. If you're like Savvy, I don't really give a fuck about your merch, but it sounds like you're an interesting writer, so I'll try reading your books. You can check out Sculpt Yourself, my new adult novel, Beauty King, my young adult novella, and you can pre-order One Final Vinyl, my young adult novel that will be coming out in May. Everything is linked in the description below. It was great to see y'all today. Have fun playing the shit out of Animal Crossing. If I don't respond to your comment for a couple hours, it's because I am balls deep in Animal Crossing. So I'll see y'all later. Have a great day. Don't forget to support small businesses. Happy reading!